Welcome back. Title 42 expires in less than 17 hours. It is ready to cause a nightmare for the already overwhelmed border towns. New York City has been receiving busfuls of migrants now for months, and now it's trying to ship them off to other New York counties outside of New York City. Rockland County granted a temporary restraining order to block a hotel from accepting those migrants. Governor Kathy Hochul says her administration is going to look into the, quote, constitutionality of trying to block New York City from sending migrants out. Joining me right now is New York Congressman Mike Lawler. He represents Rockland County. He's also a member of the Financial Services and Foreign Affairs Committees. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thanks very much for being here.
Well.
You know, it's interesting to see this pushback in New York City wanting to bust these migrants. I thought they were a sanctuary city, and they praised themselves for being a sanctuary city. But when it actually comes time to do the job, taking the migrants, they don't want to be a sanctuary city, I guess.
Well, once they realize that being a sanctuary city doesn't actually work when you have 60,000 migrants come in to your city as a result of that policy, now they can't stand the burden of it. And so they're trying to shift that to other municipalities, including my hometown, the town of Orangetown. And you just mentioned they got a temporary restraining order. They'll be back in court on Monday. But it's precisely because the governor and the mayor failed to cooperate. You know, when Southern governors were sending migrants to New York City, Eric Adams called it morally bankrupt because they were not communicating and coordinating with the city. Meanwhile, he's doing exactly the same thing to these municipalities who do not have anywhere near the resources or capabilities to take on this big of an influx of migrants at any one time. Rockland County has taken in hundreds, if not thousands, of migrants over the course of the last 2 years under the Biden administration. But they've done so because people have family in Rockland County. We have a very large immigrant community. We welcome them. They're part of our economy, our culture, and they've assimilated into the community. The problem here is when you start moving hundreds, if not thousands, of migrants with no job, no ability to get social services, it falls on the nonprofit organizations, the food pantries, and they're crumbling under the weight of this. And that's been our frustration from the start, the total lack of communication. And, you know, I saw the president yesterday, and I brought this up to him. He came to my district, and I told him, Mr. President, we have a crisis, not just at our border, not just in New York City, but here in my district because of these policies. And with Title 42 ending, we need to secure our border. And that's why House Republicans today will pass H.R. 2 to secure our border and to put an end to this massive influx of migrants seeking asylum and being shipped to cities all across the country, including New York.
Well, what did he say to you? I mean, I know that the House is expected to debate and vote on the GOP's border bill today, but how did the president answer you when you brought this up, and also assess the burden? You just said, well, they are figuring out that it's a burden. What does that burden feel like in Rockland County? What change have you seen as a result of new people, migrants coming in to Rockland County?
So the president, understood, and he said, I agree. We have to do something about the border. We have to get more border agents down there, and we need to process these asylum cases faster. And I agree with that, but nobody's going to believe that if you don't secure the border. And so we have to stop this massive inflow of 15,000 migrants a day. You see the estimations that in Guatemala they have 80,000 migrants ready to cross the border as soon as Title 42 expires. That is totally unsustainable, and I made that point to the president, and I encouraged him to work with Speaker McCarthy and House Republicans to secure our border and stop this massive inflow. I've said many times, my wife is an immigrant. I've been through this process. It's a broken system. We need to fix it. With respect to Rockland County, like I said, we've taken in hundreds, if not thousands, of migrants. One of our school districts took in 1,000 migrants, migrant students last September. But we don't have anywhere near the capabilities nor resources of New York City. New York City just got $1 billion by New York State and the governor. And I saw the governor yesterday at this event with the president, And all she could tell me is, oh, we're working on it. We're working on it. We realize, once the mayor went outside of his jurisdiction that we need to get involved. You should have been involved from the start. And now this crisis is spilling out of New York City, a sanctuary city, into areas that are not a sanctuary county or municipality.
Well, imagine what Texas feels like. That's where they're beginning, and then they're going to New York from there. It's amazing that they would agree with you and say, yes, I know, given the fact that on Joe Biden's watch, more than 5 million people, I'm told 6 million people, have actually crossed illegally and been apprehended. That doesn't include the gotaways, up to 2 million. Mitch Rochelle, jump in.
Congressman, I live part of the year in your congressional district, though I'm a Florida resident, and this has been going on for a long time. I remember Rob Astorino broke the story on this network of planes in the middle of the night, literally stopping at White Plains Airport, unloading at 3 o'clock in the morning, sticking them on a bus to the Port Chester Costco, and just letting them go. So the system in Westchester County, Rockland County, has already been taxed to the max. And absent some intervention, this new flood of migrants is going to be a real challenge. Where do they go at the end of the day?
We're leaving them at bus stops. Real quick, Congressman.
Well, no, that's the problem. I asked Eric Adams and his administration, so after 4 months in the hotel, what happens to these people?
Yeah.
And they said, well, they can come back to New York City. And I said, but you said it's voluntary. How are you going to make sure they come back to New York City? They didn't have an answer.
Yeah.
And so, now they're talking about suspending in New York City the requirement for shelter and putting these people on the streets. It is a total disaster.
It really is. And Congressman, I know when you spoke with the president yesterday, he gave you a bit of a shout out yesterday in New York. I want to get your take on your rapport with the president. Here's the president yesterday. Watch.
Republican Congressman Mike Lawler is here as well. Mike's on the other team, but you know what? Mike is the kind of guy that when I was in the Congress, they were the kind of Republican I was used to dealing with. But he's not one of these MAGA Republicans.
Yeah, MAGA Republican again with this. Late last month, Biden used his official Twitter account to attack you. He called you a MAGA Republican, as if that's supposed to be this bad word, Congressman. And I don't know why he says things like he's on the other team. Are we not on the same team, the America team? It's just outrageous, all of this division.
Well, I think his staff almost choked when he said it, because the whole purpose of coming to my district was to attack me for being a quote-unquote, MAGA Republican and an extremist. And obviously, nothing's further from the truth. I'm pretty reasonable, and I think what he found in meeting with me, I was very direct with him about the need to negotiate with Kevin McCarthy over the debt ceiling. We do need to cut spending. We do need to lift the debt ceiling. We cannot default, but we need to work together. And I reminded him that Chuck Schumer does not have the votes to pass a clean debt ceiling. And obviously, as we just talked about, I brought up the migrant crisis. But,
yeah.
We had a very cordial conversation, but I was firm and direct, and I guess he appreciated the candor.
So have Democrats been effective in terms of making Make America Great a bad word? Are you backpedaling out of being MAGA? Is that what I hear?
Well, they called me MAGA Mike during the campaign last year.
So what's wrong with that?
Sean Maloney, and I won. Look, I've continued to support the policies that are geared towards making our country more affordable for hardworking families, to secure our borders, to stop crime. Those are the issues I ran on and won on, and we're going to continue to do that. Obviously, the president and the Democrats think this messaging works. I think voters are, frankly, kind of tired of all of this.
Yeah. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks very much. Mike Lawler is in D.C. this morning. Thank you, sir. We'll be right back.